The Simpsons has just released a sequel to one of its all-time greatest episodes. Nearly 3 decades after 22 short films about Springfield, we now have Women in Shorts, a spiritual follow-up that instead spotlights Springfield's women. But does it live up to the original, and is there a moment that could rival steamed hams? Let's find out while also ranking the stories on my swanky new tier list. So the episode opens a little differently, because instead of Bart's chalkboard gag, we now have Lisa's chalkboard gag, who then hops onto her bike and rides throughout town, giving us little glimpses of Springfield's women. And there's also some other changes. Marge buys a book, not groceries, and instead of pulling into her own driveway, Marge stops at Luann Van Houten's, and it's here where she rushes inside for a book club. But, plot twist, this isn't a book club at all, it's an intervention.
Luann, you have an addiction to wine merch.
Luann's basically like one of those Facebook mums who post way too much about wine. They post memes like this, and this. Anyway, the girls offer her alternatives, like coffee or chocolate.
It's chocolate o'clock somewhere? That makes no sense, Bernice.
But the one she really latches onto is proud. And just like that, Luann has a brand new identity. Now, let's get to my ranking. I have a god tier, a great tier, a mid tier, and a meh tier. And for me, this was a fun way to kick off the episode, and I liked the seamless transition from the opening to this. And honestly, who doesn't know a wine-obsessed mum, aunt, or friend just like Luann? So, I'm gonna place it in the great tier. The segment then transitions into a Barbie movie parody, and Malibu Stacy is leaving her dream world to find the girl who loves her most, and the girl is none other than Springfield's resident tough girl, Shauna.
Freak. Besides a freaky freak, you freak.
But Shauna isn't exactly thrilled, and out of embarrassment, absolutely pummels Malibu Stacy.
So sorry, meet me at home after school.
The choice to parody Barbie with Malibu Stacy is brilliant, and having Shauna as the focus is also really perfect. I especially love that the segment ends with Shauna kicking Stacy's head right over to her #1 fan Smithers. And honestly, I feel like this could have been a good Treehouse of Horror segment. It wouldn't be particularly scary, but I would have just liked to have seen a bit more time dedicated to it. Again, I'll stick this in great. I would have liked to have seen more of it, and that can only be a good thing. And the segment smoothly transitions from Smithers' screaming to Nelson's yawning, because his mum is telling him a bedtime story. But the story is all about her shift at the strip club and her rivalry with another dancer. I loved the way this story was told, with the still images and the fantasy twist. Plus, Nelson's constant interruptions were hilarious.
Then King Nelson came in, stole all the ducats, and treated Monsignor to lunch at Krusty Burger.
The ending was also surprisingly sweet, with Nelson hugging his mum, because we all know Nelson hasn't exactly had the most wholesome relationship with her, so I do always appreciate these moments that show his softer and more mama's boy side. But even still, I will put it in mid. It just didn't engage me as much as the others did. Next up, we find Homer and Marge shopping at a drugstore, and when they get to the checkout, Marge asks Homer to go and grab her some tampons, but he gets all embarrassed and pretends he doesn't know what to do or where they are. This leads into a big song and dance number about all of the embarrassing things Marge has to buy for him. I thought the setup was funny, with Homer doing a lousy job just to dodge buying tampons and purposefully being incompetent, but personally, I feel that the whole song and dance number felt a bit too much. It was way too extra and dragged on a little longer than it really needed to. So unfortunately, I have to put this in the meh tier. After this, Ken Brockman reports that a ship carrying America's cigarette supply is lodged in the Panama Canal, which is a clear nod to the 2021 Suez Canal incident. Naturally, Springfield's heaviest smokers, Patty and Selma, start to panic about running out, so they quickly turn on each other, accusing one another of hoarding cigarettes, which leads them into exposing that they have both been hoarding cigarettes. Honestly, this was one of my least favourite segments. Patty and Selma are two of the show's most developed female characters, so it felt like a missed opportunity. I feel like they could have done something way more fun and original with these two, so therefore I'm gonna stick it in meh. This segment then transitions from Patty and Selma's smartwatches to Dr. Hibbert's, and I have to say I am loving the transitions in this episode, calling back to 22 short films about Springfield. However, I will say that the latter was far better at connecting the stories more seamlessly, whereas this one just kind of randomly goes from one character to another. So, for their date, Bernice wants to roleplay as strangers, but Dr. Hibbert struggles to stay in character. And even when someone starts choking, Bernice insists that he still stays in character and ignores it.
You want me to let a man die to give our marriage a boost?
Instead, it's Kirk who's also on a date and also roleplaying, but this time as a doctor, steps in to help.
You said if I stayed in character, we could have sex!
Then the scene is revealed to be a PSA, with Lindsay Neagle then stepping in to discuss the dangers of marital roleplay. And I thought this one was just fine, so therefore, let's put it in mid. From here, we then transition to Luigi on trial for diamond smuggling, but his lawyer is none other than his very own mama. So we get this fun TV-style intro, which is a fun callback to steamed hams. Mama then proceeds to slap every single jury member, which somehow gets Luigi found not guilty, and yeah, personally, I wasn't a big fan of this one, but my husband James really seemed to find it hilarious, so we compromised and put it in the mid-tier. For me personally, I was like, surely there must be another perhaps more interesting character to focus on, but James liked it.
Don't you dare take my sweet, sweet, sweet baby boy to jail.
So maybe I'm wrong. What did you guys think? Next up, we have Lunch Lady Doris. Actually, no, wait, it's not Doris, it's Dora. So this character was originally named Doris and voiced by Doris Grau, but after her passing in 1995, Tress MacNeille took over and the character was renamed to honour the late actress. To back this up, I found this tweet by Michael Price. He said, "We call her Dora now out of respect for Doris, who was also the show's script supervisor in the early days." Now, I absolutely love this segment. She talks about her love for cooking school lunches, but every single dish she makes ends up looking like the same unappetizing sludge. It's absolutely hilarious, from the gags to the aesthetic, and it was absolutely perfect. So, this one's an easy god tier. Next up, and Lisa dreams of a Narnia-like world where she is the queen. But ruling a kingdom isn't as easy as it seems, as every single policy she makes gets some kind of backlash.
Calm down, my good people.
You hear that? She called us people. That's racist!
It is a short segment, but still, it did get a couple of chuckles out of me, so let's put it in the mid-tier. So moving on, and we come to Agnes Skinner, who we think is making some kind of online dating profile, while instead of looking for love, she's on the hunt for a brand new nemesis after her last one passed away. Again, another really funny idea, and an original idea, so I think this was great. Following this, we find Helen Lovejoy filling wine bottles when she hears an announcement on the radio that Springfield's about to be wiped out by a tsunami in 10 minutes. And in her panic, Helen rushes outside, knocks out Ned Flanders, stops by Moe's for a little smoochy smooch, and then heads home to destroy her husband's train set. But just as she finishes, she hears this on the radio.
A tsunami of savings is approaching Springfield at Costington's red tag clearance.
This was my second favourite segment of the entire episode, and therefore, it's gotta be a god tier.
It's a great hobby. Very, manly?
Next, we find out that all the teachers have a lunchtime poll where they bet on bad things happening to the kids. Or the things the kids are doing. And at first, Miss Peyton is appalled, right up until Lisa flips her middle finger and Peyton wins the biggest bet. It's then revealed that Peyton and Lisa were in on it together. Now, I wasn't really feeling this one, so I'm gonna stick it in the meh tier. I just didn't really feel like it showcased Miss Peyton's character enough, and in a very specific way. In short, I think they need to do a bit more to differentiate her character. Anyway, with her winnings, Lisa rides back through town and we get some fun callbacks to the earlier segments. You've got Shauna kicking Malibu Stacy's head, Luann rocking her new proud shirt, Agnes with her new nemesis, Kirk doing CPR, and Luigi's mama offering her attorney card. Next, we see Nelson with his mom, Lunch Lady Dora rooting through the trash, and Helen having a very awkward moment with Moe, who, by the way, looks way too happy here. We also get Hibbert, who now is fully embracing the roleplay. The episode wraps up with Homer doing the can-can with the pharmacy workers, but wait, there's more. There's also a post-credit scene in the style of Batman Begins, but it's about the conception of Maggie. Personally, I thought this was really random and totally unnecessary. It feels like one of those rejected segments that they just kind of tacked on at the end. So, for that reason, I'll put it in the meh category. So, now we come to the big question. Was it as good as 22 short films about Springfield? No, of course not, but it was still a really fun episode and my favourite of season 36 so far. But what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, thank you to my awesome patrons for making this video happen. Thank you so much, and I'll smell you later.